Hi. That was nice. Oh, it's great to be here. This is amazing.
Now, we were talking before, you've actually been here before. Is that right?
Yes, I came here, I think about 5 years ago. I was 16 and just about to release my first single, Tim McGraw. And so we were traveling up the West Coast in a rental car, in a Taurus, and I was doing my homework in the back seat. I was like homeschooled in 10th grade. So that was when we made this trip to San Jose and came to see you guys for the first time. And it's wonderful to be back here and have so many of you come out this time around. It's amazing.
Yeah. We're a very forward-thinking company, apparently, having you here when you're 16. So I want to thank you for being here, first of all, from all of us. This is really an honor and a treat. Now, you're in the middle of your tour for Speak Now. And I know that you've posted some videos to your channel, sort of outlining your tour and specifically your trip to Asia. And I want to show a clip from when you were in Singapore. Now you're in Chinatown, but the Chinatown of Singapore. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So this, of course, has all the makings of a viral video. I mean, there's a big celebrity. It's a global thing. There's a cat in the video.
That'll do it. I think that you just said it. That's the essential ingredient, is a cat.
Now, your YouTube channel is very popular. I know you have over 500,000 subscribers that get your vlogs when you post them, which is really cool. I wanted to ask you off the bat, how important is your channel and social media in general as a tool for expression, but also for connecting with your audience?
I think we've all seen the effects of social media and how that can connect people. And for me, I grew up when that was just about to set fire to the world. You know, I think in 7th and 8th grade when everybody started having a profile online and everybody was, you know, it was all about who's your friend and who's commenting on whose page. And then it became the YouTube generation where everybody's looking at videos, everybody's making video blogs and, you know, makeup tutorials or this or that or back to school outfit shopping. You know, everybody is kind of catching on to communicating by making videos and learning how to edit them. And I think it's fantastic because it's just a new skill set for this new generation.
Mm-hmm. And I would be remiss if it were a YouTube video interview and I didn't ask you if you had any favorite, I know you're really busy, but do you have any favorite YouTube videos or channels that you like to watch?
Yes. I have watched this one like 3 times this week because it makes me so happy, and it's got these like 5 or 6 lion cubs, and there's the lion trainer, and you're like, oh, the lion cubs are cute, and they're walking around, and then they jump up on the lion trainer and they start hugging him. And then they're like making all these little lion sounds that you don't know. You don't know what the sounds are that lion cubs make, but it's amazing. It's this like they're like hugging him, and he's like, oh, you always go for my hair. You keep going for my hair. And then he's like, oh, you're telling me stories.
What? Where was this zoo?
It's amazing. It's because he's like Scottish, and they're like hugging him, and they love him so much, and cool. I don't know. Just watch
well,
it.
I guess everybody's going to run, and that's going to be popular now. Well, this isn't just our interview, right? This is also your fans' interview, and you have some very rabid fans, the Swifties, right? I believe is how they call themselves.
I know. I think it's so cute. They came up with that.
They're very serious, by the way. They don't mess around. They submitted 30,000 questions to this interview, and over
so many
over
questions.
100,000
They're so
votes.
curious.
Yeah, so we only can do a few of them, and we also have some from Google. But the biggest topic by far was songwriting, because I think that a lot of your fans have a big connection to the stories that you tell in your songs. And so let's start with that topic. And this one comes from Panda Bear Lover 13. I mean, a lot of the usernames are not meant to be read out loud, so we just have to. This is from Florida. Which comes first for you as a songwriter, the music or the lyrics?
I think for me, it more comes as a general idea. And my favorite thing about songwriting is that it's so spontaneous and unpredictable what's going to hit me first, whether it's going to be a general thought. Like, for example, you know, I'll be going through something. When I wrote the song Love Story, that's a song I wrote sitting on my bedroom floor because I liked a guy and my parents didn't want me to date him. And so I got this idea in my head. It just popped into my head. You were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said, stay away from Juliet. And I didn't know where in the song that was going to fit, but I just started there and I built out from there. And it's crazy how the fastest songs that I write end up being my favorites. The ones that just happen in just a surge of idea, a surge of inspiration. And it's usually something I'm going through at the time. It's very hard for me to come up with just some random metaphor for a situation if I'm not going through it or haven't recently just gone through it. But you know, I think when I was growing up, my mom talks in metaphor a lot. And so I think I grew up just understanding metaphor and just kind of loving that, how you could take something you're going through and speak about it in a different way that applies how you're feeling to something completely different but connects it. So I think for me, it starts as an idea and a feeling and an emotion.
Yeah. We had a lot of questions about the process from budding songwriters who submitted questions that are big fans of yours from Buffalo and a bunch of different places. And I mean, you know, we were wondering, is there one favorite part of the songwriting process that you have? I mean, is it when you get that idea, or when you're sitting on the floor in the bedroom, or you know,
Yes.
is it when you're in the studio?
There are several moments in a song. And I won't finish a song if I don't have these moments where you go, ooh, 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 like after you write a line. And it's always that same feeling of like, oh, that's exactly what I meant. You know, if you're in a co-writing session, I'm always the one who will like be like sitting there for a second, and then I'll say a line, and if it's that moment where you're just like, that's the one, that's the line, I have to have about 4 or 5 of those lines in a song for me to put it on a record.
Yeah.
Like lines where I'm just like, yes. So that's my favorite part, is then when the song goes into its phase of being recorded and then being put on an album, and when you're playing it for people for the first time, when it comes across those lines that you really feel are like, I don't know, like zingers, or like say it really well.
Yeah.
I love watching people's reactions if it comes across, like if they get those lines. I'm like, yes, knew it.
Well, we'll get back to the co-writing thing in a second, because there were some questions about that as well. But and here's another question. This is from Music Maniac in Los Angeles. You've said you're already writing for the next record. Can you tell us anything about it?
Well, yeah. For me, I never really switched the writing switch off. It's always on, because I kind of have always felt like to make an album that I am proud enough of to give to my fans and say, here, you know, allow this into your life, it has to be 2 to 2.5 years of writing. And that way, you know you have your best stuff, because I'm so tough on myself. I drive myself insane writing records and albums, because it's like, I'll write like 40 to 50 songs and then 13 or 14 make it. That's a lot of paring it down and making sure you're getting to the best stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it takes a while, and I've been writing ever since I stopped writing the last album. And there's been a lot that's happened, and I never really talk about my personal life, but I write about it.
Yeah.
So that's basically what the album is about, as always.
Yeah. The unreleased thing was something that came up a lot, and one of the top voted questions was about, you know, would you ever make a CD of your unreleased songs? This is from Tay Swift Fearless in Missouri. But, I mean, what happens to those songs that don't make it to the album? And, you know, would you ever release some of the songs you wrote, especially when you were younger, like 14, 15?
Well, I'm obsessed with the latest song that I've written. I'm very guilty of that, because like my favorite thing is always the newest thing that I've written. But lately I've become a little more self-aware, because I had this song that I wrote when I was 16, and it's called Sparks Fly, and I played it in a few shows, these little bar shows, when I was playing to crowds of like 40 and 50 people and being psyched about that many people showing up. And I played it a few times, and it got on the internet, and when I was putting together the Speak Now album, the fans just kept saying over and over again, Sparks Fly, we want this to be on the record. And so I went back and I revisited it, and I kind of rewrote some things and updated it. And when we put it out as a single, it's been one of the fastest rising songs we've had on the record. So it's kind of taught me a lesson about the old stuff, maybe possibly being good enough to put on new projects.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to hear some of that stuff. Let's move on to some of the released songs. This is a question from Cookie13 Cupcake. This is in the United Kingdom. This is going to be a long one. All right, so out of all your released songs, which song took the longest to write?
I think that the song Sparks Fly, the fact that it technically was started when I was 16 and ended up on an album in sort of a different form in 2010, that took a while for it to turn into what it was going to be. So I'd say that was probably the longest developing song that I've ever put out, because most of them, and especially having written this entire new record without any co-writers, it all happened really fast because I'm very impatient. Like, if I don't have a song finished, I'll obsess over it. I won't sleep that night, and I'll just edit constantly to the point where I can't focus on a conversation, and everyone around me is annoyed because they're like, clearly you're working on something, just finish it. That one was a long time to kind of get where it needed to be.
Cool. So let's talk about that co-writer thing for a second. As you mentioned, this album was all you, as far as for Speak Now. But you do often work with co-writers. And how do you decide if you're going to write a song with a co-writer or whether you're going to tackle it yourself?
Well, there are a bunch of different circumstances that could bring about a co-write. If I'm writing for somebody else's project, that's always exciting for me. Like, I love to put myself in somebody else's shoes and, you know, think about their style of music, incorporating their storyline, what they're feeling. It's really fun for me to do that. So I love, you know, writing for other people. And then, you know, if I'm working on an idea, but there's like a stopping point where I can't really figure out like where this chorus is going, or if my hunch is right about the hook, or things like that, if there's a definite stopping point, I'll bring it to a writer that I trust or a writer that I admire, and just ask them what they think. A lot of times, co-writing, you know, I write really well with people who don't even play instruments or sing, because, you know, a lot of times my best co-writers are just really great at giving advice. Like, do you think this chorus is too long? Yes. Like, thank you.
Yeah. Is there anybody you're working with right now that you could talk about?
Yes. You know, for me, since I write so much and I don't know what's going to end up on the record, it's I never want to say, well, you know, wrote with this person, and because then what if it doesn't make it on the record? But
of course.
And then writing for some other people's projects, in which case I feel weird talking about it because it's like their project. So I want to, well. So yes, but
okay.
Yeah.
This was a popular, a lot of votes for this question. This is from Quadratic Formula in Michigan. It's appropriate for the Google.
Wow.
Do you sing your own songs in the shower?
Yeah.